Hello guys, welcome to another YouTube video. Welcome to this tutorial video series about Node.js and how to create an API with MongoDB and Express. So today we're gonna finish our API, which is gonna be a very simple API, but still I think it's gonna be really good and really fun in order to make it useful when connecting it to a front end. So today we're going to create the category model and the video model because both of them come together in order to have some features and logic that we can use later. So I'm going to go ahead and create those two models, those two route files and the controller files. So that's what we're going to do right now. And I don't know, let me know guys if you rather me having the screen on all the time or if I make it disappear like so. But anyways, so let's start with that. So first things first, we're going to create the models. Model user. So apparently the just delete some stuff. This should be here. Models, helpers. Yeah. Hold on, let me close this window. Should you want to workspace configuration as a file? Don't save. It was actually quit, but so we're gonna open Visual Code Studio. Okay, there you go. So we have our controllers and routes, and you guys should also add the models and the helpers, because I remember doing that prior. So I think I accidentally deleted them, so bear with me, which it's this folder is right here. I don't like this button right here, but whatever. Find not found. Well, yeah, that's because I don't want to. Models, helpers. You know what? Actually, bear with me. Close it. Don't save. Then I'm gonna go with the terminal. You guys shouldn't do anything right now. You guys should have everything up to date, and everything is posted in my GitHub, so don't worry about it. It's just that I messed up deleting something, so I'm gonna do create directory, and one is the models, and the other one was the helpers, and I just want to verify. Yeah, helpers, models. All right. So they're right here. I have that right there. And then the models have the user, because we did this. Okay, so now my terminal shouldn't have any errors. There you go. So my terminal just going to restart it. So npm run dev. Remember that you guys first have to initialize the database, then you initialize the server. And then I always like to have like an empty one in order to create files or directives, just as you saw. Now that everything is working, I'm going to create the, first we have the video game. not video game controller. Wait, let me pull out my notes. So we have the videogame.js, that's going to be one model. And that's going to go, as I said, in the models folder. And we're also going to create a category model. Now, since we already created those two files, we're also going to create a video game. Video game controller. And we're also going to, I just should have created alongside with the video game controller. So a category controller.js. Damn, I need it. And those should be, by the way, if you did the mistake that I did, you can do MV. You choose, for example, category space dot. You want to move that because MV stands for move. Move that into controllers, and then you type the name that you want. So category controller.js. Then you do the same for video games. So video game controller.js. And by the way, I just pressed tab to autofill that. So dot controllers, then video game controller.js. Okay, perfect. Or you can just create it from here straight. All right, so you have our controllers. With controller. Perfect. We have our models, and we have to create our routes. So we're going to create the files, but before that, actually let's create them right now. And we're gonna do the same. So touch routes, and we're gonna do category.js and videogames.js. Now that we have that done, we're gonna go into our index. And we're gonna declare them. So we're gonna do app.use API, and we're gonna do category require routes category, and the same for video games. So API video game require routes video games. Perfect, we save it. Now we'll go to the terminal just to check that we don't have any errors, which we do. Okay, so obviously this happens every time that we create a file, a route file, and we don't put the basic template, where we have to put the const express equals require express, and then const router equals express dot router, and the module dot exports equals router. So that's like the basic template, and everything goes in between, all the routing. And we're gonna do the same with video games, so that's why I copy pasted it. I copy it so I can copy paste it here. We save it, and now the error should go away. So we go into our terminal, and everything is running smoothly. Perfect. So now let's start setting up the routes. So what do we want to do with the routes? So we want to be able to create and delete a category, and we want to be able to do the same for the video games. Create a video game, delete a video game, and obviously we also want to list like a bunch of video games. That way you can see like all the video games that are existing in X, Y, Z inventory or store or whatever. So since the category is easier, well, first, in order to create, we have to have our model completed. So we're gonna go to our models and we're gonna go to the category. And the category model is actually really easy. So kind of like the user, we're gonna be using Mongoose in order to help us create the model. Mongoose schema. And from there, we will want to have the name of the category, which is going to be a type of string. We're going to trim it, which I already explained what it was. It is going to be required. It's going to have a max length of 32 characters. And it has to be unique. You cannot have two same categories because it just doesn't make sense. Same as an email in the user, you have to have a unique email. Well, you have to have a unique category. And we're gonna export this. This is gonna be a Mongoose model category schema, which is kind of like a very similar template to the user schema that we have. So now that we're here, I'm just going to take advantage and create a video game schema also. So I just want to pull out my notes. And this is going to be a little bit longer of a file. So again, we're going to require the Mongoose library. We're going to require the object ID. I believe that's the method from Mongoose. Then we're going to do video game schema equals new dot schema. Mongoose schema. And again, we're gonna have the name, pretty similar stuff, which is gonna be of type string. We're gonna trim all the blank spaces. It's obviously required with a max length of 32 characters. Going to have a description, again of type string. Also, we're going to trim the white spaces. It's also going to be required. And the max length here is going to be way longer than the name for obvious reasons, because you want to be as detailed as you want to be, so you want to have more room to describe the video game in this case. So price, we're going to add a price to it, because why not? Maybe you want to sell it, maybe you want to trade it. So just some properties that we may want to add to the video game. Now we want to assign a category which we're going to create in one of the routes. So this is going to be linked to a category. So we're going to reference here the category model, which is also going to have an object, an ID. Quantity, well, we don't necessarily need to add a quantity, but it may come handy to have that there for logic later in the future, so I don't want to get rid of it for that exact reason. So I'm just going to leave the quantity there. sold. We don't need that because we just don't need that. We do want an image, which is going to be type buffer. Well, it's going to be declared as a string, but we're going to make use of the buffer in order to load the image. So required false. Yeah, also I believe we don't need this. This is more for like whether you're willing to sell your video game or not. And we can add all the stuff that I got rid in the future. So in case that I want to like expand and make the API more complex, we can add those things in the future. But for now, I just want to be able to have the basic functionality done. So again, just like category, model, video game, video game schema, video game schema. Okay. Just want to check in the index, video games, perfect. Okay, so we created the routes. Well, we don't create it, but obviously they're empty, right? We created the models, so now we're going to create the routes, like the request methods inside of the route files. So let's start with the category because that's the easiest one. And we're going to want to be able to create one, so we're going to do router dot post, and we're going to create, and we're going to need the user ID just to verify who is creating it, and this method is going to be the create method from the this is going to be coming from the category controller. So require controllers category controller, and I'm not going to save it yet because we're going to have an error because this does not exist. Our category controller, just as our video game one, is empty. So I just want to have this set up before we move on onto the controller. So don't save this yet. We also we have the create, and we want to be able to delete it in case that we don't want it anymore. So router dot delete, and we're going to do category ID. So in case we want to delete it, we will have to provide the category ID in the link or in the route parameter, and then we want the user ID also. And for that, we are going to do the remove. We're going to use the remove method, which is also going to come from the category controller. Now, the methods that I explained in the previous video from the auth controller, which are the is auth and require sign-in, these are going to be coming handy right now because and my keyboard just ran out of battery. Hold on, let me plug it in. Give me 1 second. So just so you guys see, like, my keyboard just ran out of battery, and my microphone also like kind of moved out of position, so just had to place everything again in position. But anyway, moving on. So we're going to require, as I was saying, the methods that we created in the auth controller, which are the require sign in and the isAuth method. And we're gonna make use of them here in the post and in the delete route. So let's go ahead and import them. So require sign in and isAuth, and that is gonna be coming from Jesus. Controllers, and that is going to be coming from the auth controller. There you go. Alright, so even if we saved it, since this does not exist, we're going to have an error. So don't save it just yet. To create it, we're going to add the require sign in. That does exist already, and it is auth. So you're going to be required to be signed in, and you're going to be required to have a token when requesting this route, or when you want to create the category. And for remove, same thing. So we have those things. Now, in order to be able to save this without getting an error, then we have to have the create and the remove. This should be remove, not category. Create, remove. Alright, so let's go into our category controller and let's create those methods. So the first one is going to be the create. And as always, we're going to have our request and our response parameter for this function. And we're going to create a category, which is going to be equal to the new category model that we just created. We're going to request the body, and we're going to save it. If we don't get an error. If an error exists, then return a 400 JSON status handler error. Otherwise, if we don't have an error, then we're going to return the data. Now, as you can see, we're going to be using the error handler. There you go. The error handler, which is going to come from the helpers directory, which I deleted in the beginning of the video. It's been 23 minutes, so yeah, we're still good on time. Okay, so here, error handler, we're going to require it from helpers and from the DB error handler. And since we're going to be creating a new category, we're going to request the category or require it from the models and the category file. So now we are just missing the remove, and once we finish the remove, then we can save this, then we can save the category route file. So we're going to do exports dot remove, which equals request response so the category that we want to delete, we're also going to request it from the I believe we were going to request it from the body, but as in my notes say, it's going to be request category rather than request body. And then we're going to do category dot remove error in case that there's an error. Otherwise, we're just going to return a JSON message. So if error return res as status, and you know this right now, a 400 type of error that is going to be handled by the file that we just required. Otherwise, we're going to send a JSON message category deleted successfully. And I guess that we can get rid of this data since we're not going to be making use of it, but I'd rather just leave it here just in case. But yeah, you can even see that like it's not colored properly. Okay, so we save our controller. Now we can save our category route, and this, there you go, there's no errors. And I'm gonna be posting this on GitHub, that way you can follow exactly what's going on, and that way you can cross-reference whatever you are having on your code. So now that we have that done, we're gonna move on to the video games controller. Well, actually, first we're gonna do the video games route. And I actually want to name this video games controller. This is fine. Yeah. Like that. That's how I want to name it. Now, since I already created this prior to this video, that's why you see the M, because this is going to be on the main repository. You should be seeing this with a U as untracked if you are using a Git repository, but don't worry about these M's. So as I was saying, we're going to go into the video games route, and we're going to first start with the create video game method. So I'm going to pull out my notes, and we're going to do router.post because we're going to be sending information into the API. And it's going to be video games / actually this is just create / and we're going to require the user ID. And we're going to have a couple of methods here. One is going to be the create, another one is going to be the is authenticated, and the other one is require sign in. So let's not save this just yet, and let's import those methods from the auth controller. So we're going to do require sign in, we're going to require the is authenticated, and we're going to require, I believe those are the ones that we need for this. So require from controllers, and this is the auth controller. Perfect. And in order to make use of the user ID, we're going to declare this parameter, which is user ID, user by ID. And I believe that this, we also have it in the auth controller. So user by ID. And product by ID. So we want to create it, we want to delete it, and we want to list it. Okay, so here is our, this is a create video game, but we also want to be able to get all the video games. So in order to get all the video games, it's going to be video games slash, no, sorry, just video games, and we're going to list them. And as you can guess, this is going to come from the video games controller. We also want to be able to delete a video game in case that we don't have it anymore. So router.delete, very similar to the category one. And we're going to do, in order to delete it, we're going to need the video game ID. And we're going to make use of the user ID that is deleting it. And again, we're going to need the isAuth method and the require sign in and the remove, which I like to put in the beginning. So remove. So again, don't save this yet because we're gonna have an error because we haven't created these methods. I also want to declare another parameter. So list, and this is going to be delete. And for that, we're also going to need parameters. Router.param video game ID. This is going to be video game by ID, which we'll be making use here. And bear with me a second. Product by ID. Okay, yeah, so this is going to come from the video games controller. So we're going to do const, we're going to do the list, create, remove, and video game by ID. So those are the methods that we are going to need from that controller. Controllers, and this is going to come from the video games controller. Perfect. And I believe that we have everything for this for this route. So let's go into the controller. So video games controller, which is empty. So the first thing we're going to do is the list method. So we're going to do exports.list equals request response, and we're going to say let game equals, hold on, create the update, exports list. Just want to check something in my notes because I think I may have something that may be conflicting with what I have. Anyway, yeah, let's just test it and see what happens. So we're going to do let order equals rec dot query dot order rec query order. This is going to be we're going to list the video games in ascending order. So we're going to sort them by rec.query.sort by rec.query.sort by, and this is going to be sorted by ID. You can sort them by name, but for now I want to sort them by ID. So parse int rec.query.limit, and I want to limit this to, normally you display either 3 or even 6, so I want to do multiples of 6 or multiples of 3 maybe. Let's do 9. No, let's do 12. So let's put 12 just in case. So after that, then we're going to do product.find. If we find something, we're going to select photo, populate, category, dot sort by order. Then we're going to do limit execute error video games. And then, so if there's an error, you know this by memory probably. So we're going to display 400 JSON status, which is going to display an error, which is going to say video games not found. Otherwise, we're going to display the video games, and that should be for our list product. So I just want to see how long it's been. It's been 37 minutes. Well, we really are not missing that much left, so I really want to finish this in this video. So this may be a little bit longer than the other videos, but let's try to finish this. That way we have a full working API. So we're also going to do the create method. The create method, kind of like the category we're going to create, and we're going to need to import the products model, I mean the video game model. So we're going to do cons video games, cons video game, video game equals require models whatever. It should be like suggesting this, but I know that I have it, so there you go. It is finding it, so we're good. Video game. We're also going to require some libraries, which I believe I told you guys that we need to install. I already have it installed, which are the Lodash and the FS. Require FS. So we're not making use of FS, but we make a lot of use of Lodash. You probably already figured out by now on other files. So if you don't have the FS library, go ahead and install it. So we have that imported. I'll bring this down here. I'm also going to require the error handler file. Require helpers DB error handler. There you go. And I'm missing formidable. So formidable, which is a kind of library for forms, hence the formidable. And again, if you don't have it, go to your terminal. Yeah, here I have a couple of errors. But if you don't have it, go to your terminal, do npmi for install and fs, formidable, lodash, etc. But I already have this, and I believe you guys should do too. Let's see, list, yeah, because these methods don't exist, that's why. So we have the shouldn't be getting an error there, but whatever, we'll check it now after we finish the create and the remove method. So let's move on with the create video games method, and it's going to be exports.create equals request response, and this is what we use formidable. So formidable dot incoming form, because we're going to create the video game from a form dot keep extensions equals true, form dot parse request error fields files, because we can make use of files if we're, I don't know, adding an image to the video game, which we will. So 400.json, then error image. If we get an error, we're gonna say image could not be uploaded. All goes well, then we want to check for all fields. So we want to check for the name, description, price, category, for the quantity, and I believe that was about it. Equals fields. So we'll let product video game equals new video game. That's going to be having all the characteristics from the fields. So if files dot photo, and if the files dot photo dot size is bigger than 1, 2, 3, that much many megabytes, I believe. So here I have a note, 1 kilobyte is equals to 100 bytes, and 1 megabyte is equal to 1 million bytes roughly. So the photo size is bigger than 100,000, I think it's bytes, I believe. We're going to return res.status 400 JSON, and we're going to return the error. Image should be less then 1 megabyte in size. Perfect. Otherwise, product video. Video game dot photo dot data equals fs read file sync files at photo dot path video game dot photo dot content type equals files photo dot type. So if all goes well, then we're going to save that video game. So video game dot save error results. We're going to do if error return status for 100.json and as always we want to return an error, which in this case is going to come through the error handler. Otherwise we are going to return the created video game, which is going to be the result of their properties, and you're going to see like a huge number which is going to be representing the image since we did it through a buffer. And I think we're just missing the remove, which is really short. It's actually like 7 lines maybe. So exports dot remove request. So once we finish this, we should be able to test it on Postman. Video game equals rec dot product, and we're going to do request dot video game. Yeah, in my notes I'm calling it a product, but obviously this is a video game, so video game dot remove. So same thing, deleted video game. Again, if we have an error, we're going to display an error with a JSON 400. So return res status for 100.json error handler, and we're going to display that specific error. Otherwise we're going to display a message that it was successful because the object won't exist anymore. I just want to make sure that's the way. Where's our category controller? Message. Product deleted successfully. Okay, so now that we have all those methods, we have the list, we have the create, we have the remove. We're just missing the video game by ID. So let's do that. Product, and this is also very short, so it shouldn't take that long. I think it's also just as long as this, as the removed one, maybe even less. So exports dot video game by ID. Let me see how I wrote it here. Video game by ID. Okay, perfect. And the way we're going to do this is with a request, a response, and next and we want an ID. Those are the parameters. So Videogame dot find by ID. We're going to feed it an ID. It's going to be populate category, execute error video game. Yeah, video game, and we're going to console log from controller just to be sure. Video game that we're requesting the correct video game, and we're going to do if there's an error. As always, very important to our error handling, or if the video game does not exist, then we want to do a return reset status for 100 .json error video game not found. Else, if we don't get into that error, means that we found it. So we're going to do video game, video game equals video game, and we're gonna tell it to move on to the next process. Okay, so now we can save this, and we have all these methods right here. So we can save this, and we should see our terminal running without an error, but we're not. So invalid schema. Configuration, true is not a valid type at price trim. So true. So this is in the video game because that's the only place where I have a true. So price trim require number, max length, tag trim. Is it required? Invalid schema configuration, true is not valid, type path at price trim. I'm not sure about that. We have true for a lot of stuff, and when it comes to trim, this right here, tribe. Okay, there's still something. Invalid parameter for user ID got undefined. So, and this is in the router index.js. So let's check here, because export's great. So first I can get rid of this because we already have our create. Let me just answer that, or actually hang up. Alright. So there's one error right there. It says user ID error. So if we go into our video games and user ID, let's see if I have an error here, which I believe We shouldn't. Maybe it doesn't exist. Yeah, I forgot to create it because I just did this like 30 minutes ago, so I forgot to redo it. So let's see, user by ID, nope, user controller, user by ID, yeah, that's what I'm missing. So let's go into the auth controller. I just want to make sure that I didn't create it somewhere else. So user by ID. Yeah, no, we haven't created it. Okay. So that's the only thing that we're missing. That's why we're having that error. So I'm going to go here in the auth controller because that's where it should be. Exports user by ID. This also like 7 lines at most. Rest and next, and it's very similar to Videogame by ID. It's actually almost exactly the same. So we're going to do user.find by ID. We're going to put in the parameters the ID of the user that we are trying to find. So again, if there's an error displayed or if the user is false, meaning that there's no user, we're going to return a 400 error, as we've been doing in all this video. And we're going to do error user not found. And we're going to do request profile equals user. And we're going to tell the method to move on with the next thing. Okay, so this should make the error go away, but it's not. Malbrand for Videogame. There you go. Here's our typo. Right away. So the easiest way to correct this error, we're gonna go here and we're gonna put it on the global search or global, I don't know how you want to call it. Videogame. Where is this Videogame? It should be, well, the Videogame controller. Videogame. Because we're importing this into the route as Videogame. There you go. And now we don't have any errors. And I don't want to leave this out of the video because I want you guys to see how do you do debugging, how do you look for errors, the thinking that goes behind it. So I think this is very important, and hence I'm not going to edit it. So the routes that we created are the create a category, create a video game, and obviously we have the delete, and we have delete for both of them, and we have list video games also. But let's go ahead and do the category. Now I already have this tested, but I know that works, but I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So first you're going to create a new HTTP request. You're going to put API, category, create, and then this is going to be the user ID. So first let's go to user sign in, and I'm going to sign in with john@gmail.com with the password, and this is the user ID. So I'm going to do command copy, and then I'm going to go to category, and this is another user, so I'm going to put John Doe, which is going to be that. So to create a category, just to remind you, here, where's our category? We need to be signed in and we need to be authenticated. So here's our user, we are signed in, but also we need a token, and this is a token, this huge thing. So right now we're going to be putting that token manually, and we're going to go to create category. We're gonna go to authorization. No, sorry, the headers. So content type, it should be already as application JSON, but in case that it's not, just go ahead and add it. You're going to have to manually add authorization. Just go and type authorization. Very simple. But I already have. Then you're gonna type bearer with a capital B. You're going to leave one space, and then you're going to put your token. So I'm just going to delete this. So I put bearer, one space, paste the new token. There you go. Now we're gonna go to body, and I'm just gonna do raw JSON application. So I created a classic and an action category for the video game. So now I'm going to create a, I don't know, Mario category. So now I'm gonna request it, and it says category is not defined. Let's see. Category create, category is not defined. Just a sec. Category is not defined. Category. Here is our. Okay, so now this should work. There you go, perfect. So we created a Mario Bros category, so that works perfectly. I'm not gonna test the delete category now, so I want to go straight to create a video game. So as you see, I already tested this, but I'm going to test a new. I'm going to test how to create a new video game with a different user. So we're gonna go all the way to the top. Again, this user is different from the one that I have. So from the sign in, you don't need to press sign in again. I'm just gonna copy the user ID. Put the user ID here in the parameter. And I'm also gonna copy the JSON token because it's still valid. And I'm gonna go to headers. Again, same thing, authorization. I'm gonna put the bearer. And I'm gonna put the token. And then on the body, we're gonna put all this. So I created the this video game, Wolfenstein, but I can put, I don't know, Mario Kart, then racing game, Mario Classic. I think this goes for $50. Category. So since we just created the category, you're going to need to put the category ID. If you don't have this anymore, you can go into your RoboT, go into your database, go into your categories, and get the ID from there. But since I already have it here, I can just grab it from here. I'm gonna paste it, shipping. I don't remember we having this, so I'm just gonna get rid of that. Quantity, I have 1, then photo, going to go here to Mario Kart 8. Now I'm just gonna do file, save as. Gonna put in a folder, Mario Kart. And then I'm gonna put it here. Like files. Okay, cool. So we should be able to create it if we don't have any mistakes, but it appears so that we do. So let's try to fix that. So API video games create video games. I believe I named the route differently, so let me check. Let's go to index, and yes, here I have video game. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this as out, and this should be created. It's taking long. Hopefully it's because of the image. Well, all seems to be well. I don't know why it's taking so long. So I just want to check my model to see if I have shipping, which I think I don't. Okay, let's try this again. Video game, create. Header, authorization, sign in. Is it the same? I think it is. Copy, create video game. Yeah, that token is the same. So the token is right. Then the user ID. Let's check in the video games route. So router, create, user ID is off. Why is this giving me an error? Well, it didn't give me an error, but didn't want to save it. Let's see the size of the image. It's taking way too long. Mario Kart, let's see, size. Yeah, no, I don't see why that would be an error. So maybe there's an error in the create method. Create, let's see, name, description, price, category, quantity, fields. Create, Again, formidable incoming form, give extensions, true parse. Okay. Fields, let video game. Video game. File photo size. Recent video game photo data. Fizz, rate file sync. Photo path, files photo type. Video game save, result, JSON result. I don't get it. We shouldn't be having trouble. Backend is working properly. Let's see what the backend says. Took too long. This is so annoying because I don't even get an error. Let's try this. We can remove the is authenticated, which we won't require. We won't require this. Let's see if that's part of the error. But nah, that's taking way too long. That's not it. Create user ID. User by ID. Let's see. User by ID. User find ID dot execute. Rect. I think I found the error. Yes, I found the error. It was in the user by ID. So user by ID. This has to be here. That's one. Along with this one. Now let's try this again. And actually I'm going to go to the video games route. And I'm going to put the is authenticated method because it should be working. So let's try to create it. There you go. Perfect. It was created. So all these numbers that you see, only that is the image. And we're also going to test the list route. And I know that this has been way too long, but we literally finished our API. I know it's been 1 hour 14 minutes, but I just wanted to be done with the API. That way we can move to the front end, and we can do React hooks, and we can do Angular, and we can do really fun stuff. So that's why I stretched this video for as much as it was stretched. So if you see the bar, well, you may not see it now, but if you see the scrolling bar, if you go all the way to the bottom, we're gonna see this is the image, all those numbers is the image, the ID, the name Mario Kart, racing game Mario Classic, which is the description, the price, the category, the quantity, and the timestamp. So now the easiest route is going to be video game. I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to just first copy it because I don't want to write everything. I'm going to do HTTP video games. It's going to be a get. I'm going to save as, and I don't know if you guys knew about this, but you can create collections here. So here where it says new collection, you create a new collection. It's going to pop up here. So here I have it in my YouTube API. And the name of this, instead of all this huge thing, I'm just going to put list video games. So save, and then I'm going to request this. Product is not so I have another error there. So I read that it said product, so yeah, there should be a video game. And as I said before, I did another application where I had product as my model, so that's why I had a lot of mistakes with the product. And we have another mistake. It says server could not send a response. So let's go to video games. That's fine. Let's go to the index. Video game. Local API host. And there you go. There we have our video games. We have Wolfenstein, which I created it, and Mario Kart. And later we're going to create a specific route just to see the image. So we've finished our API. I may add a couple of more things in the future in order to have more logic and more functionality. Here, as you can see, you cannot see the image, but the image, if you go to your Robo 3T and you go into your collections, actually I'm going to refresh this, and here you have your video games. Each video game does contain an image, which should be photo here. So the image does exist, it's just that I'm not requesting it in this particular route. But actually I may do one more video in order for you guys to request the image. But basically our API is almost done, and we're going to move on to React and Angular, and that'll be everything for today. So if you like this video and this tutorial series, which is almost done, give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.